Hello everyone and welcome back to another review. This game just dropped on Steam and I've had my eyes on this one for a while. I love Blade and Sorcery, Dungeon Knight, Carnage Chronicles, Soulscathe. These are my kind of games. Transitioning the weapon from one hand to the other is absolutely flawless, and never once did I reach over my shoulder and grab empty air instead of my sword. Looking at you, Boneworks. I could give mighty, soul-crushing smites, and the game actually registered it, or swing my sword back and forth like a scared little girl when I turned around and a zombie wanted to eat my asshole. Magic feels powerful. I love the fact that magic isn't gesture-specific. Straight pull-up menu, grab stone, throw elements that only deities should wield, and watch the zombies, orcs, and spiders go flying. Enemy details are just that. Detailed. I would love to have been a fly on the wall when someone had the idea to have the zombie heads actually respond when you pick them up. The armor for the orc boss and vampire boss look incredible. Even the run-of-the-mill fodder orcs have varying armor, and I absolutely love that. I hate the spiders. Normally, this would count as a con, but I am not among the arachnophobic. I love my little roommates. When I say I hate the spiders, I'm not saying, ew, spiders, get them the hell away from me. I'm saying they're an enemy I hate enough to enjoy killing in every single game that I find them in. Now I can count Shadow of Valhalla as one of those games. And all of you little shits out there who write articles complaining about how video games have a spider problem and it's time to move past them, your bloodline is weak and history will not remember you. That's like saying Super Mario has a Goomba problem. I feel like a badass. Being the one-man army that Shadow of Valhalla allows you to be is satisfying, visceral, and dare I say, therapeutic? To see and feel these vile creatures fall beneath my blade is like a scented candle to my frayed nerves. So the game is in early access, and yet the devs wanted to make sure everyone had something to play with. You got your short swords, your long swords, your hand axes, your battle axes, your spiked clubs, and those wickedly curved orc swords that I simply adore. Being in early access, the devs had the option of just saying, here's a sword, go nuts. But instead they said, okay, we want people to like this, we want them to look at this and think what kind of potential there'd be in the future. And they delivered. They gave us a variety of weapons to play with. And I have to say, one of the most satisfying moments in this game is when I was holding the battle axe and instead of swinging it at the guy's head, I held it close to the head and punched forward, smashing the fuck out of this zombie's face, and it felt so good. No. We do not say bad things about games in early access. We should be happy the devs gave us anything at all. I won't be listing any bad things about this game because I understand it is an early access. Instead, I will be asking myself this. If you were given the chance to talk to the devs in a massive lapse of judgment, they asked you casually over a beer and some hot wings, what improvements do you think we could make on Shadow of Valhalla? After choking on my beer and gushing over the fact that ChickenWaffle is asking me what I think about their game, I would say this. Running? I would like to move faster, please. Maybe more weapon slots? The shoulder slots work flawlessly, but I want to be able to carry more stuff and have extra shit on hand to, chuck at the bad guys. Maybe you could give us some method of aiming the fire and vine spells? I mean, if your area of effect is big enough, aiming doesn't really matter that much. But if you're trying to soften up the oncoming horde before they get in melee range, a way to aim your spells would be handy. Maybe give us enemies that are slightly tougher than uncooked spaghetti? And honestly, this one's kind of a toss-up for me. Do I want bad guys that die in such a way that I feel like a god? Or do I want a challenge? Maybe give us bosses that are immune to falling down. I mean, fighting the orc boss and even the vampire boss. Like, once I got them off their feet, I could just go to fucking town, if you know what I mean. Just wailing on these boys. And in the end, I realized, of course, if they stood up, I probably would have been wasted. But you do have something of a blocking mechanic in this game. And I'm wondering if maybe you should force the player to actually fight this person instead of knocking him on the ground and giving him a one-man, beat down. Then, after listening to my thoughts on the subject, ChickenWaffle leans back in their chair, fingers interlaced across a belly that is full of beer and hot wings, and says to me, "Bandana Games, what would you like to see in a future update?" I blurt out after a slight hesitation, I want a spell involving spinning blades. Something maybe Valkyrie themed. And with a super long cooldown period so you can't spam it. I think that would be really cool." "Huh," says ChickenWaffle. Then asks, "Would you recommend Shadow of Valhalla?" Honestly, I stop for a moment, lean back in my chair. I put a finger up to my lips, thoughtfully, and after a moment, I say, seeing Shadow of Valhalla for what it is right now, the obvious labor of love that it represents, and knowing I like what I see, even in early access, and having nothing but hope for it in the future, absolutely I recommend this game.